Hey up YouTube. So in this video today I'm going to go through with you guys a quote that I did the other day, and I'll be honest with you, it did wind me up. The point of this video, it's in one ways it's to vent a little bit, but in some ways, you know, it's a bit of an open forum on why it is that some people think that, you know, we should be happy working and doing these horrible jobs for horrible people. You know, and I do see it in the industry and out of the industry where people will say that, you know, they're like, you should be happy with whatever work you come across. You know, there's customers out there that, you know, they themselves think that we should be happy to do these horrible jobs. And I just think to myself, well, no, we shouldn't. You know, you shouldn't have to take on a job like this. You shouldn't have to do a job like this. I'm lucky in the sense that I'm at the point now where I can walk away from jobs. I can say to the chap or the lady, look, this job isn't for me, it's not something I cater for, and I can walk away. When I first started, you know, and we all do, we all take on jobs, we all take on any work. This job is one of the jobs that I'd say nobody should take on unless, you know, it's a specialist job, as in, like, basically it's dog mess. There's a lot of dog mess in this lawn, and I think nobody should deal with it. It's just a horrible job, and it's just been, you know, brought on by somebody who doesn't want to have to clean up after their animal, basically. So I arranged to do a quote with him. I had a chat with him over the phone, and he says to me that his lawns, and he did say to me, the lawn's able to be cut at this time of the year. And I did point out to him that yes, if it's maintenance, it's a maintenance cut. You know, you've missed, you know, a few weeks, you know, and it's an okay day, and your lawn's not waterlogged or your lawn doesn't suffer with water problems, should be fine to crack on. He said, yeah, that should be fine then. He says there is hedges and shrubs all the way around that need doing, no problem. One of the things that he did say, in all fairness, was he did say that he has problems with the neighbours. He says that the neighbours, in his words, were fucking nightmares, and that basically they're always complaining about him, going to the council about his garden. So when I got there, I was pleasantly surprised, in so much the sense that actually the garden wasn't too bad. I was expecting, by that description, I was expecting a shithole, and it wasn't. It wasn't too bad. This immediately got me thinking that in this scenario, who is the nightmare? Because the front of the property wasn't too bad. There was no garden, just tarmac, so that's not a problem. The back of the garden had a 6-foot fence going all the way around, and they live in bungalows. There's no dormers, so you can't see anything anyway. And it's just grass. It's not like there's trees going over. The problem is literally the grass. So I looked at the lawn, and I can tell straight away that it's not been cut in a while. Months, not weeks, months. There was, so when I went to quote on it, this was when the snow had come down, so it was just after the snow had melted, all the snow was gone. So you could see that at some point the grass was very tall. There was thistles that were like 3 or 4 foot tall, and where the grass had sat on, sorry, the snow had sat on them, it had compacted them all. So automatically, you know, straight away this was going to be not a fun job, basically, because it was so overgrown. So this was like the first 10 seconds. So I went in with the idea that it can be done. You know, at this time of the year, it can be done. It's not going to look amazing, it's not going to look brilliant. You know, this was at a little bit of a distance, and I said to the chap, I said, the grass can be done, I says, but it will not look the best. I says, you know, no matter what you try, it will need another cut afterwards to get it looking a little bit more presentable. But it's doable at this point in time. So we went up and had a look at it, and he did say to me that he's got a dog, and that would explain the fact that there was probably like a 9-foot, almost like crater in his lawn, where some animal, I don't know whether it's a dog or a bear or a pack of dogs, had scraped all the grass, so it was just dirt, and there was holes all in the lawn. You could see like where he dug out. So it's a big dog that likes to dig. Now, the first thing that caught my eye once I got up close to it was there was dog shit there, and there was a lot of dog shit there, and I could see, and automatically I could tell in my head this bloke doesn't like picking up after his dog, because the lawn is it's tiered, so you don't even have to bend. There was like 6 shits in a row on the edges of the lawn where you don't have to bend down, you can just pick them up like that, and he hasn't. So I could tell straight away. I'm not anti-dog, I love dogs. We've got 3 dogs at home. I work for a lot of people that have got dogs, and they look after him, they tidy up after him. But even though they tidy up after him, and I know we tidy up after him, I am still very, very aware of the fact that stuff does get missed. So you can expect to trim a shit or come across a shit or a piece of it or a smear, but I know that, and I'm fine with that. But this one was an whole other story. He did say to me as well that his previous gardener, one of the reasons that he stopped coming was because of the dog mess, and he says that it hasn't been cut all year. He did say to me that once it's cut, he can then look after it and pick up the dog mess himself. Now, again, I'm sorry, you know, I tried to make excuses and I tried to look on the good side, but automatically I could see that, you know, there was shit that you could easily pick up. There was also shits there that had been there a while, and then there was shits that had been there that had just, you know, there were just pools of shit. It was making my stomach turn just thinking about it. So this bloke was just bone idle. He just didn't want to pick up after his dog, and I didn't either. And I says to him, I says that there's that. The first thing I said to him, that there's a lot of dog waste here. I says that looking at it straight off the bat, it would need to be, you know, picked up beforehand. He says, well, are you going to do that for me? I says, no. I said, I'm not here to pick up after other people's dogs or animals. I says, I'm here in the capacity of a professional gardener. It's up to you. And again, this is what I've heard in the past, you know, in the industry or out in the industry. You know, there'll always be people who say, well, you know, just get a bag and pick it up beforehand. This is gardeners and this is other gardeners. You know, I'm not calling out YouTube people. You see it on Facebook groups. That's fine. I'm just not here to pick up after dogs. You know, if I got in my van, if I come to your property and, you know, I open my van door and a load of rubbish fell out, crisp wrappers and chip wrappers and all that, you know, would I say to the customer, I'll just pick it up? No, I wouldn't. I'd be horrified. I wouldn't do anything of the such. And to me, it's the same sort of level. But anyway, so I did say to him there and then, I says, I can see that there is dog mess. I says, you know, being completely upfront with you, that I will have to charge more because of it. And he sort of screwed his face up at that, but I'll be honest with you, I was trying to do my best. I was trying to give him a quote. The waste sort of side of it, I've got 2 places that I can take waste. One of them, I have a very good working relationship with him. I'm in a position where he'll accept the waste for free, but there is criteria. He himself makes a product out of it, which he then puts on his plants. He's got a nursery, so there's no way that I want to risk upsetting that by taking dogs, so I can't take it to him. And then the other place that I usually take it to him, there's very few rules there, but one of them is that there should, you know, in the green waste there should be no animal waste. If it is that there is, it gets put through as general waste, which is charged a hell of a lot more. There's a minimum charge, and then obviously the cost per tonne is more. I won't be dropping a tonne's worth, but you know what I mean. Automatically I have to put £35 onto it. So again, that's why I'm making him aware of it. He screwed his face up at that. He rolled his eyes, and this is one of the most common things that he kept doing throughout. He was just rolling his eyes, and that just fucked me right off, I'll be honest with you. But anyway, I'll get on to that a little bit more. So I made him aware of that, and I'll be honest with you, at this point in time, when I said that, I was, you know, 51% that I was going to walk away from this quote straight away. But like I said, you know, we try and do our best. So I said to the chap, I said, I'm going to have a walk around and have a look at the rest of the property and have a look at the rest of the jobs, and I'm going to form a quote for you. Again, he sort of, you know, rolled his eyes. I think he was expecting a price there and then looking at it. So I walked around and had a look, and the shit just got worse. That's the only way I can describe it. I actually took a little video of it because there was just so much shit everywhere. And I've watched the video back, and when I first watched it I could see 10 lots. When I watched it again I could see 20 lots. When I was walking around I counted, there's no word of a lie, there was 25 to 35 pieces of shit. They were everywhere. Paths, on the lawns, it was everywhere. There was some that you could tell that were fresh, you know. At the end of the day, if you don't pick up after your animal, never. A dog has like 3 shits a day, and if it's a big dog, you know, so in a week, 15, you know, 20, and next week up to 40. So, you know, me seeing 25 to 35 isn't out of the bounds of, you know, of seeing it. So I looked, I just knew there and then I can't do it. I don't want to do it. You know, it's a lawn that you can't just put a mower on. So it's not like I could just get the big mower and just mow it. It would have to be trimmed. And there is no way on this earth I'm doing that. So I went back to him and I says to him, I said, I've had a look at the lawn. I says, there's just too much dog mess. I says, I would have to strip it all off first and then rake it all up. I says, and there's no way I'm putting a strim or any of my tools or myself near that lawn because there's a lot of dog mess. Now I tried to be as polite as possible. I think at the end of the day, dirty people and lazy people, we know that they're dirty and lazy, but you don't really want to tell them that, but really, you know, they should. But I tried to sort of be as polite and professional as I can. He just laughed at me and he rolled his eyes. And I just, you know, well, it's not a laugh, it was like a sneer. And yeah, so I says to the chap, he says, well, what about the shrubs or the hedges? He wanted the borders doing as well, he never mentioned that. And after that, I said, I'm unable to provide a quote. He says, why? I says, well, I've told you about the dog mess issues. I said, it's everywhere. I says, even by doing the shrubs and the hedges, I'm going to get covered in it. I says, I've told you about it and you've laughed at me. I said, you've been rolling your eyes throughout the whole of the conversation. I said, it's clearly not an issue to you, but it is to me. He says, well, there's no point you being here then, is there? I says, there isn't. I says, so I wish you a good day and have a good day. And I walked away. It really winds me up that people, and I always say this, it shouldn't be personal, and you should never make it personal in business. You should never be personal. You know, part of me is just like feels like saying, look, no one will touch that lawn when it's like that. You need to sort it out. You know, book your ideas up. It's not fair on you because, you know, there's a dog out there that's trampling through really tall grass. That's going to be getting covered in shit, so it's not fair on a dog. In a way, it's not fair on you because it's trampling it all through your house. You know, you need to sort it out, but the attitude, the rolling their eyes, the laughing, the sneering, you know, the shitty attitude, it's, like I said, it's just something that I'm not willing to put up with, and that you shouldn't be willing to put up with. And like I mentioned as well, you know, it's personal preference. I don't want to pick up after other people's animals. Don't get me wrong, you know, I say that, but the flip side is that I have turned up to properties where the owners have got dogs, and I know they've got dogs and they look after, pick up after them, but they miss one, or they miss a piece of one, and I have the choice: do I roll over it with a roller mower and smear it everywhere, or do I just, you know, corral it out the way, flick it out the way, blow it into a border, you know, whatever? Do I bend down and pick it up with a bag? But, you know, me personally, I don't carry poo bags with me or any sort of bag. You know, so I have a way of dealing with it, and you know, it's part and parcel of the job. It's like cat shit, you know, but there's a difference between things that you can't do anything about, and then there's things that you can do stuff about. And I'm not here in my capacity to mow a lawn that is absolutely covered in shit. I did one, so about a month ago, I did a last cut for a bloke. It was actually a soffit, he was doing his gutters, and he says to me, "Can you just whiz over the lawn for me?" I said, "That's no problem." He did say to me he's got 2 dogs, and he says, "Luke, I'll pick up before I go." He says, "But just give it, you know, a last cut." I said, "That's no problem." And I'll be honest with you, I went up and the grass was quite long and thick, and I did one pass with the mower, and you could just see so much shit, and the smell of it was absolutely vile. And I just said to the chap, "I can't do it." And I showed him, and I used a little roller mower, and I had to flip the mower over, wash it off, you know, on his patio, wash my boots off. It was disgusting, and you just couldn't see it because it had been there that long that the grass had sort of grown through it, you know. As I said, it's not my cup of tea. It's not something I want to be doing, you know. I work hard. I've built the business up to where I can say no to these jobs and say no to people like that as well. So have a good day, guys. Keep on gardening.